Time now for a look at this week's 48 Hours. When a well-known Washington, D.C. photographer was murdered 2 years ago, authorities very quickly found a suspect. His name, Brandon Holbrook, was convicted of murdering Joe Shymanski. Now, Holbrook, listen to this part very carefully, Holbrook used to be the boyfriend of Shymanski's ex-wife, Heather. 48 Hours contributor Nikki Battiste grew up with Heather, who found herself caught up in this case. So they sat down for an exclusive interview that you'll only see on this week's 48 Hours.
Heather Snyder and I hadn't communicated in more than 25 years. As a high school senior, I'd been homecoming queen, and she was my successor.
I put a crown on your head, and now here we are. And we're back.
She agreed to answer all my questions about the night her ex-husband Joe Shymanski was murdered. She said she had gone to his house to drop off their 2 young children and he wasn't home. Investigators would find blood in the driveway, and they interviewed Heather.
Are you in any relationship right now?
No.
But Heather told them she had broken up with someone recently.
What's his name?
Brandon Holbrook.
Just days later, near Brandon Holbrook's Pennsylvania home, investigators found Joe's remains. And while Holbrook was convicted, members of Joe's family suspected Heather was somehow involved. Joe's niece, Janine.
You think Heather Snyder was the mastermind?
Yes.
Heather told us she had broken up with Holbrook about a month before the murder and had no idea what he had been planning.
Did you have anything to do with Joe's death?
I did not.
Heather had an alibi. She was spotted about 3 hours away buying pizza around the time investigators say Joe was killed. Still, Joe's family point to texts Heather sent Holbrook days before Joe's murder, complaining about her and Joe's custody agreement. I keep thinking karma is going to catch up with him, she wrote, but I'm tired of being patient.
That's how I was feeling.
Do you think a text like that may have triggered Brandon?
I don't know.
And even though Heather said she and Holbrook had broken up a month earlier,
About a week before Joe went missing, Brandon Holbrook texted you, "I like the smell of your hair on my pillow."
He did.
she says they were just friends and were only talking.
So many people watching her, I think it just, logically, you have to have known something.
Right. But I didn't.
Whoa, surreal.
Nikki, it had to be really odd, weird, different to interview somebody that you kind of know involved in a murder. Just the questions that you're asking, to be looking across from somebody that you know.
Surreal is the word for it. And we grew up in a
Yes.
town of only about 1,500 people, so everyone knows everyone. But Heather Snyder has never been charged with a crime. Authorities have never named her as a suspect in her ex-husband's murder. She told us she wanted to set the record straight. She knows quite a few of Joe Shymanski's loved ones, think she was involved, but she insists she knew nothing of Brandon Holbrook, her one-time boyfriend's plans. And as you saw in the video, she has an alibi. And at
got
the
an
time,
alibi.
investigators say her ex-husband died.
Hasn't been charged. How widespread is the suspicion? Have others raised suspicion about her connection?
At Brandon Holbrook's trial, his lawyers raised the idea that Heather might be involved. She was mentioned in his trial more than 400 times.
Whoa.
She was called to testify. She pleaded the fifth. I was there. The jury gasped. When I asked her why she made that decision, she said she didn't want her words to be twisted, but she sat down with me for 3 hours.
Wow.
So you'll hear a lot more of what she has to say tomorrow night.
There is a lot to unpack there, Nikki.
There really is. So, Nikki, I'm just curious about this. So do you call her up and say, hey, it's Nikki Battiste, we went to school, I crowned you? Was it awkward?
Well, remarkably, a 48 Hours producer called me after tracking
I
Heather
see,
down,
I
and
see.
she said to him, I know Nikki Battiste, but when I first called her, it was pretty unbelievable.
Yes. Wow. All
I have
right.
a lot of questions, so I want to
Yes.
watch this.
You can
Tune
watch Nikki's report. A lot of questions. He's right, Nate. My Uncle Joe's Murder. I love these titles. On 48 Hours tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central, right here on CBS, and streaming on Paramount Plus.